Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jalyn and I'm a full-time creator, entrepreneur, wife, and dog mom. I'm so excited to share a very detailed video on my camera equipment because the amount of questions that I've gotten from you guys over the years is insane. Like, if I had $1 for every time somebody asked me what I used to film with, I could probably buy a Lamborghini Urus. I'm not even exaggerating. I could buy my Urus. So if you want to know how to get your content quality to look like this and this, then stick around because we are going to get into the nitty-gritty of the exact products that I used to film with, my filming setup itself, and my camera settings as well. But before we get started, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I post a lot of content creator tips and I don't want you to miss a single one. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up so that it can be recommended to other creators who are also trying to level up their content quality. Jumping right into the cameras that I use to film, 90% of the time I'm shooting on my Sony A7IV, which is what I'm using right now to shoot this video. I bought this camera at the beginning of this year and it has honestly been one of the best purchases of 2024 for me. It has been a game changer in my content quality. I freaking love this camera. It's a full frame mirrorless camera that shoots in 4K and it's great for both photos and videos. That's really what attracted me to it. Now, I'm not gonna get into all the specs of the camera because I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand half of that stuff, but I have linked it in the description box below if you're curious and you wanna check it out. Also, the screen flips around and it flips like backwards, if that makes sense. So you are able to see yourself from different angles, no matter like what kind of point of view you're shooting from, which is really cool and convenient, especially because I shoot a lot of my content myself. Now, when I'm shooting vlog content, on-the-go content, or when I'm traveling, the camera that I use is my Sony ZV-1 Mark II. Sony has said that this camera was designed specifically with content creators in mind, and honestly, like, they freaking nailed it. I'm not gonna lie, they nailed it. This camera is compact, it's lightweight, it shoots in 4K, and if you have seen any of my weekly vlogs or travel vlogs, this is what I'm using to film. The screen on this camera also flips out and flips around. This camera is also super beginner friendly. I think if you are new to cameras, this could be a great starter one for you. And I will say, even though it's a vlog camera, it does take pretty good photos. So I want to mention too that this one does not have the interchangeable lens. There is another like Sony vlog camera that does have that if that's something you're looking for. But I got the one with the built-in lens and it's an 18 to 50 millimeter lens. Oh, and it also comes with a tripod. I actually don't remember if I bought this separately or if it came with it, but it's this really cool like handheld tripod. You can just like stick the legs out like this and prop it up on, you know, a table or whatever, or you can hold it in your hand like this. And what's really cool about this tripod is that it also doubles as a remote. So you can easily just hit record, you can easily take a photo, and it just, you know, attaches to the camera like this. The last camera that I used to shoot with, babe, it's my good old iPhone. I have the 13 Pro Max. This phone is a few years old now, but when I tell you, the girls be commenting on my videos, be like, oh my God, what are you shooting with? iPhone 13 Pro Max, babe. And this is what it is. Like, the quality on this is like really unbeatable for a phone. Like, you can't deny it. The iPhone quality is great. I like shooting get ready with me's on my phone. I still use my phone for like product and texture shots because you're able to get like really close up without it getting blurry, fuzzy, without, you know, the camera having trouble focusing. Like, you're able to get those macro shots basically. And at the end of the day, my phone is literally either in my hand or right next to me. So it's really convenient just to be able to pick it up and start shooting content. Quick honorable mention to my old camera. I used to have a Sony A7IV, and that was like my first camera purchase as a content creator. Like, it got me through like 3 years. Really, I was using that camera for 3 years and it was a great starter camera. The only thing I didn't like about it was that it was a cropped frame camera. So it was a little bit zoomed in automatically, like by itself. Knowing what I know now, I wouldn't buy that camera again. But like I said, girl, it got me through 3 years of content creating, it did its job. It did start tweaking near the end, and that's when I was like, okay, like I really do need an upgrade now. Moving right along to lenses, I have 2 lenses that I use. They're both from Sony. One is the 50mm, which I'm using to film right now, and then the other is this 28 to 70mm zoom lens. The 50mm lens is really my go-to when I want like a nice, dreamy, smooth, like blurred background, because it's so good at getting like those really nice, crisp portrait shots. And so when I'm sitting down filming like this, kind of like in a stationary setting, it's amazing. The 50mm did have like a few learning curves, just because like when it's on autofocus, it's continuously like auto focusing, so it makes a sound, like it makes like a clicking sound, like you can hear the mechanics of the lens focusing. So when I'm recording audio using this camera lens, I have to have an external mic, which I'll get into later, but I wouldn't be able just to use the built-in mic on the camera with the 50mm lens, because then you'd hear the clicking in the background. If you are interested in the 50mm, because I think it's a great lens, I would do a little bit of research to see if it's the right lens for you. Now, this zoom lens actually came with my A7IV. It came in the kit, and usually the kit lenses I'm not super jazzed about. I'm like, okay, man. But no, girl, like this one is, like I was like really surprised at the quality, and I have actually found myself reaching for it more, because the 50 was my go-to for a long time, like for a couple years. That's the main lens that I was using, but I've been picking this one up more ever since I got the A7IV this year. I have been loving it. There's something like creamy about the quality, and I like that it's a zoom lens. I like that you are able to use it in a variety of situations. It's great for both photos and videos, so this could also be a really good start for you if you're in the market. Now for lighting. Lighting plays a really crucial role in the quality of your content. Natural light is great if you have it available, but I wouldn't depend on natural light. It can be a little finicky. And if you have shot content before, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, especially if you're shooting like in front of a window or something. Like if the sun is there 1 second, it could be gone the next. And then what are you gonna do? Are you gonna wait for the sun to come back out? Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Because look, I've done the same thing, girl. I've done the same thing, and it sucks. Having a good lighting setup is really important, because that way you can control the light for your content. So I have 2 like softbox lights that I film with. They sit behind my camera, and they're probably like 5 or 6 feet away from the subject to me. I also have a panel light over here to my right. I have a window here to my left. So I'm really getting light from all around. I do want to upgrade my lights soon to aperture lights, but girl, I'm not gonna lie, those are expensive. Like all of this equipment is expensive, child. Like I know you guys, like, but I do want to upgrade my lights at some point when I get a little extra coin to set aside for it. Oh, and of course I have the viral, portable, attachable light. This is really handy. This also gets like super duper bright. You can change the warmth, you can change the brightness. This was really good. I think it was like $20, $30, $40 on Amazon. It's a really good light for on the go. The next thing I want to talk about has been a really big game changer for me, and that is using the Sony app on my iPad so that I can see myself. That is so important. The app is called the Creators App, and I'm not sure if it's exclusive to Sony products, but I believe it is. But it's really easy to use. All I did was download it on my iPad. It connects to my camera via Wi-Fi. They have like their own little Wi-Fi connection thing going on, and I'm able to use the remote shooting function to completely control my camera on my iPad. So I have my iPad sitting right here so that I can see myself, and this is a great way or great alternative rather to using a monitor, because girl, the app is free. Like, let's be real, the app is free. I am able to change the f-stop, the frame rate, the ISO, the white balance, the autofocus. Like, I can turn the timer on if I need to. I mean, there's so many settings on here that I'm able to access directly in the app. Now, when I'm filming on my phone, the app that I use to mirror my screen is called ApowerMirror. I'll be honest with you guys. Look, you know I always keep it 100 with you. That app is ass. It's ass. It's arse. It's not even ass, it's arse. But it gets the job done, okay? Because look, number one, it's free. You can pay for the paid version, I guess. I probably wouldn't do that. The reason I say it's not the best screen mirroring app is because it's a little glitchy. Sometimes it freezes, sometimes there's a delay, but girl, sometimes it runs fine the whole time you're shooting. And with the free version too, you do have like a time limit on how long you can mirror your screen. Use that information how you will. I'm just putting it out there. That's what I use. It gets the job done at the end of the day. And again, it's free. So what can you do? And sometimes I actually avoid having to use ApowerMirror because I literally just set my phone and my tripod up in front of a mirror so that I'm still able to see the screen and see myself while I'm filming. Speaking of tripods, I have a few that I use. I have this Big Daddy tripod that I use for my A7IV. It sits right on there perfectly. It's very sturdy. I have traveled with this tripod as well, and it fits inside my carry-on bag, my check bag, of course. The other tripod that I use is this one. This one I use for my phone. My phone sits here, of course, and then the legs pop out and the tripod stands up. I think it goes to like 5 feet high, I want to say. This is a pretty good one. I have been through so many tripods, you guys, since I started content creating. As far as my room setup goes, here's a quick look. I tried to set everything up so that there's a good distance between where I sit at my desk and the camera so that I'm able to still have a nice depth of field behind me. And then I'm also still able to get like nice close-up shots if I want. You know, I can move the camera closer, I can move it further back. It did take me a while to figure out like the right setup for me. Before I had my desk positioned on the wall, like right in front of the wall facing this window to my left, I didn't really like having, you know, the wall as my background. And then I had to start using backdrops because I was like, well, the background's so boring. Like, it took me a while to figure it out. But I really do love the setup that I have now. But you know, sometimes I put like fresh flowers up there and it's really nice to have those in the background of my video. So yeah, that is my room setup. Now I want to talk a little bit about my upload process and my editing process as well. So to transfer my content from my camera's memory card over to my phone or my laptop, I use this SD card reader. This port goes into my phone and then this port goes into my laptop. I like that it has both, so I didn't have to buy like two separate pieces of equipment. As far as editing software goes, I actually used to use Premiere Pro to edit my YouTube videos. I think I did it for maybe like a year, but I found that Premiere Pro was not super beginner friendly. There were so many learning curves and I just really didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was using InShot on my phone prior to using Premiere Pro and I was like, okay, this is not working. It was just too much footage to upload onto my phone and then try to edit on my phone. It was a lot. It was a lot. So I have made the switch earlier this year over to using CapCut for my YouTube videos, and that has been really, really helpful. CapCut is super beginner friendly. It's much more intuitive, and it also has a lot of like built-in features, whereas in Premiere Pro, like you would have to build those effects and transitions yourself, if that makes sense. And I think CapCut is generally just really good for social media content. It's also what I use to edit my short form content on Instagram and TikTok as well. For photo editing, I use two apps, Lightroom and Tezza. I've been using those apps for years and I highly recommend both of them. I recommend the paid versions of both of them. I also do have CapCut Pro. Lightroom and Tezza. If I'm keeping a photo like very close to its original color grading, then I will just use Lightroom. But if I want like a grain effect or a vintage effect, or if I want, you know, some like cool type of something effect, then I will use Tezza. Let's talk about camera settings, because I believe that you can have the best camera in the world, and if you don't have the right settings, your content will still look like crap. I truly believe that. Your camera settings are so important to the output of your content. So first things first, I shoot in manual mode 100% of the time. On my A7IV, I am always in manual, whether I'm at home, if I'm out somewhere, like wherever I take this camera, it stays on manual, period. When you use a camera on manual mode, you have more control over the outcome of the content and what the quality is really gonna look like. So manual allows me to control things like aperture, ISO, white balance, shutter speed, all so that I can get the exact type of content that I'm looking for. So I'll give you an example. In this like fixed setting, right? Like I'm in my office, I'm at a desk, the camera, the subject, me, we're both very stationary. We're not going anywhere. Here are the settings that I use in this type of scenario. My frame rate is 1/125. My f-stop is at 2.0. My ISO is at 160, and here is a really critical tip for you guys. I like to alter my white balance to be a little bit warmer when it's like completely flat at 0, or if it's just on auto. Like it makes me look a little too cool, and maybe I'm golden. I'm golden brown, so like I like to look a little warmer than the like original camera settings. And I would say learning about like how to use my camera, the different terminology and the settings, like that entire process, it probably took like a year or two before I fully understood what everything meant. And now I know, like inherently I know what I need to do to set up the perfect shot, no matter where I am. If I'm outside, I'm like, okay, I need to turn the ISO down. I need to turn the frame rate up. Now I just like get it, and that took a while. So don't be intimidated if you're like, oh my gosh, like I've never used manual. I don't know what these settings mean. Like that's okay. Just keep trying. Every time I go to film, girl, I used to have to Google something. I'm like, okay, what is this? How do I do this? And that's just what it took to learn what I know today. Audio is another really important aspect that goes into the quality of your content. For me, I use the Rode Wireless Go mic, and this is what it looks like right here. I'm gonna whisper because like now it's really close to my mouth, so I don't want to be too loud. But that is the mic that I use. I have the actual mic itself, and then I have the receiver that is connected to my camera through the audio jack. And again, I like to use a mic when I'm using the 50mm lens because you're not going to hear that clicking sound, right? So when you have the receiver plugged into the audio jack of the camera, it just like takes that sound away. I don't know the specifics, girl. I don't know, but that's what happens. And I think using a mic is really good in situations where you are like talking directly to the camera or you're doing a voiceover. Like it can just, the sound, it just sounds better. You know what I mean? And again, there was a little bit of a learning curve. Like when we first got this mic, like I had to figure out, okay, what settings does the mic need to be on in order for me to film in my office, in my bedroom, in my bathroom, downstairs? What is a good setting for the mic to be at? So right now I have my decibels set to -6. And I know you're like, girl, what? Like, huh? Like why? That doesn't make sense. But it does. Okay. I don't know how to explain it, but like when the decibels are set to like 0, I don't know, I just feel like the mic picks up so much more noise. And then when I go to edit the content, I'm like, okay, like this sounds like really loud. And then I have to turn the audio down a lot. Even then, I still feel like it just picks up like way too much sound. So I found that when you set the decibels a little bit lower, you have more control over how the audio sounds in the editing process. And that's what's really important. You don't want to get to the editing process and you're like, oh my God, this audio sounds like crap. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna re-record? Do a voiceover at that point? Yeah, been there, done that. And again, trial and error happened and I just learned from my mistakes. And so this is the current situation with my audio. I will say too, right now my room is a little echoey because I used to have a clothing rack in here. So the clothes, they kind of help like absorb some of the sound, some of the echo, but then I put them away in the closet. So now we're back to kind of a really empty office. Like there's not much in here besides like my equipment. I have a bookshelf and my desk and some products, some PR. There's nothing on the walls to absorb like that echo sound. So again, that's also why I like to have the decibels down just a little bit so I have more control over it when I go to edit. Also, I wanted to clarify as far as like my room setup goes and like how I see myself using the Sony Creators App. I did want to mention that I don't look at myself in this app like when I'm doing like makeup content, for example. For that, I use this like foldable trifold mirror. I got this from Amazon. It's just really helpful to have like sitting on my desk, so it sits right here. So this is what I look at when I'm doing like my makeup, and then obviously I have my iPad set up here so I can see how it looks on camera. But I personally wouldn't look at myself on like the monitor while I'm doing my makeup, or I wouldn't look in the flip out screen or whatever. I forgot to mention too that when I edit using CapCut, I use CapCut for desktop. That is for like YouTube content, that's for some of my like short form content as well, but like anything that I shoot on my camera, like the A7IV or my vlogging camera, I'm using CapCut desktop. And then for stuff that I shoot on my phone, obviously I'm going to use CapCut on my phone. It's just easier that way, and CapCut desktop is actually really good. I'm not gonna lie, it's really good. I did want to mention too, I know that I said I always shoot in manual with my A7IV, and that is true. However, with my ZV-1, I shoot in auto. I make my life easy when I am traveling, when I'm on the go, when I need to like pick up and film. I shoot in auto. Like, it makes it so much easier, and this camera actually has intelligent auto, so it's like a little bit smarter than just like regular auto. Like, it can like pick up things easier. So I did want to mention that for my vlogs, I typically will always shoot in auto, again, just because of the convenience. It's easier to just leave it on auto so I can pick it up, film, say what I have to say, you know, film whatever scenery, whatever, you know, the case is. As far as my upload settings go, I export all of my content in 4K. That's what I shoot in as well. And then when I go to upload to like Instagram or TikTok, I still upload the 4K quality. I know that people say, which I believe to be true, that Instagram compresses the quality to 1080. I don't know. I've tried both. I've tried both where I upload in 1080, I upload in 4K. I'm not really sure that I see a difference. So you can try it for yourself, and you guys let me know like if you have seen a difference. I would be interested to hear it, you know, firsthand from someone, but that was just my experience with it. I just upload in 4K, and then of course for YouTube, I upload in 4K as well. The last thing that I wanted to touch on in this video is that all of this equipment is an investment. You do not have to go out and buy everything at once. This took years for me to build. And if you're just starting out, like, don't feel like you need to have the latest camera, the latest iPhone. Like, it's totally fine to work with what you have. I would essentially just make sure that you have a decent camera on your phone, you have decent lighting, and you have clear audio. Like, I feel like if you have those three things, like, you can create some really good content. And you can always upgrade as you grow. That's what I did. Like I said, I started out with a pretty good camera 4 years ago. I made that investment. Now I have a really great camera. It took me 4 years to get here though. Like, I'm using the same lights that I've had for probably like 3-ish years. Like, most of my equipment, I'm literally using the same stuff. I literally just got a new camera this year because this stuff is expensive, girl. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Be sure to follow me over on Instagram and TikTok to keep up with my day-to-day life and see all of these tips, all of this equipment in action. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.